And here we go.
Watch now. We're in the restart. It says they're streaming right now. Oh, wait, you're not streaming yet.
It's just
I just advertised on my own Discord.
Hello, everyone. We're super late, and things are just not working.
Also, we're down some people.
We're down one man. The most important
For
one.
about another half hour.
Yeah, just for 30 minutes. We continue the trial of the clouded Kokoro.
The clouded Kokoro.
What?
My Kokoro goes Dokoro.
Shut up.
You could probably get a lot of money for a clouded chocobo.
Kokoro.
My Dokoro goes Kokoro.
I have considered the defense counsel's request for a further summation examination of the jury. And I have determined that the court must uphold the defense's judicial right to this procedure. So, counsel, you will now proceed with your second summation examination.
Wait, how is it sound in the stream?
I just listened for a split second and it sounded okay.
Okay, what?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I presume the jury is ready, Mr. Foreman.
Phil sounds good.
We are, my lord.
Shit. Who?
I didn't know.
We are, my lord.
Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you now to state clearly and concisely for the court the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of this crime.
Oh boy. Oh no.
One of the best themes.
You know, Reginald, you take juror number 1.
All right. The accused left behind evidence. The accused left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his.
I'm willing to jump in whenever. I don't want to be rude.
Oh.
If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider.
I probably should have just gave you juror number 1 since you're just floating. Okay.
Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it?
Dearie me, it was only a little book, hardly life-threatening, even with a direct hit.
Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay today, I'll be in a tiny bit of trouble.
Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago. It gave me the sneezes.
I love you as that character.
Yes, considerably more tangible arguments from all members of the jury this time around, it seems. With one notable exception, of course.
My learned chief was unable to find fault in the previous witness testimony. Well, this court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene. And moreover, no one else was even at the scene to commit the crime.
Well, if the eyewitnesses are correct, it would seem as if the conclusion is somewhat set in stone. I fail to see how it can be argued any other way.
That means, I'm afraid, that during the summation examination, it's essential that you establish some other tangible explanation for the facts.
But how? What would even constitute a tangible explanation here?
Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman and how? Those 2 details are all you need to provide. Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was conducted.
And there I was, thinking this might be hard.
But, Mr. Naruhodo, you have to do it. Otherwise, this really will be where the trial ends.
No pressure then.
That's quite enough preamble. Proceed with the summation examination, please. I presume you are prepared, Counsel.
Oh, yes, my lord. All right, Ryunosuke, focus your mind now. My cheekbones are ready. Clearly, the key to the summation examination.
It's hitting myself in the face really hard.
That clap.
Is going to be juror number 4, the maid. Or should I say, Mrs. Garandab?
Who also hits people in the face really hard.
True.
And the cheeks.
With a knife out the
We have a
window.
book that disappeared from the Garadeb's house on the evening of the incident. The 4th book found in the victim's hand.
There must be a way to link the two. Yes, that's what we have to find. Using every technique I've learned in my short career so far. Whatever it takes.
Don't forget to keep an eye on Mrs. Garadeb and see how she reacts, even to the things other people say.
Ooh.
That tells me I have to make effort noises.
Reacts are always good.
Yeah? Okay. You... Let's see. I'm just going to press everything. Bill, you're up. But as you know, as we know now, there were 4 books, not 3.
Eh?
Yes, you.
Oh. Sorry. Well, what difference does it make?
There's every possibility that the 4th book, in fact, belongs to the defendant's landlord.
Yes, that's part 1. That's the part I have a problem with.
Sorry?
Well, at this point, the woman was stabbed. This landlord fellow was at home, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrap with his wife or something, you said.
That's not exactly how I put it, no.
Well, anyway, the point is the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened.
I think that's what you call a strong alibi.
So it couldn't have been the landlord who did it, which only leaves the Nipponese fellow.
Nipponese.
This sounds
How
even
does that
funnier
get
with a
you what all
southern
this
accent.
palaver is about? It's a done deal, isn't it? It's the mustache. That's what got me.
Yeah, one of them nipple-wees.
It's those Nipponese.
Oh God. Okay.
Man,
Forward.
what the
No.
Nipponese doing over there? I don't even know.
I do like hearing everybody's different takes on
Oh, nip
the
it.
same character.
Well, seeing as Juror 2 is a Southern Belle, I was like, eh.
Yeah.
Okay. I suppose it is, since I've nothing witty left to say. I lost all my ammo. I got nothing left, man.
Hold it.
So, you might be willing to change your decision, you mean?
Oh my, such delight on your face. But I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotion. Oh, shan't. I can't went all British there anyway.
We are in Britain. You're
Despite what you may think of me, I'm a very modern, metropolitan, and rational woman.
That's great.
Very Saitama of you.
One reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So I'll read them in the first place. You see? Modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say?
And not at all extreme.
As I see it, an overwhelmingly suspicious Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelmingly strong testimony. So despite one or two minor puzzlements, I do declare that the man is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say?
Overwhelming.
But us modern gals are always delighted to embrace new fads, you know?
The more you read this in this voice, the more it sounds like it was done on purpose.
Yeah.
The writing?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. It's Europe. It's a video game.
So I'd be only too happy to consider an exciting new theory if you could come up with one.
I'd be happy to do that too, if only I could.
Let's do our very best not to disappoint the modern and metropolitan young woman. Young lady! God!
You got it, Susato. Right. I'm glad you admitted rational there. I see what you did there. Good job. You're my assistant for a reason.
Asaya, Mr. Naruhodo.
All right. But what about the possibility that the window was open?
What about it? I mean, there's just no way it could have been.
How can you be so sure?
The prosecutor fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Winters in London are no joke. You don't want to invite that sort of cold indoors. So no, that window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting by the fire and staying warm, see?
But you couldn't categorically state that the window wasn't open, could you?
It just wasn't. They wouldn't have opened it.
Then what's the point in even having windows? Huh?
Counsel, you will kindly refrain from childish bickering.
Never.
Oh,
I am a child.
Bill, can you do me a favor when you're doing the judge? Can you just end it with rabble rabble just for me, just once?
Rabble, rabble. Okay.
Yeah, rabble rabble.
Yes.
Just rabble
Okay.
rabble.
Yeah, it's a
got it.
thing.
it's a thing.
Yeah.
I will do rabble, rabble.
Okay.
Oh boy.
We Londoners would never open the window even if we'd suffocate. From smoke inhalation.
Somehow I need to show there's an undeniable possibility that the window was open. Because this young man isn't going to budge otherwise. Slap. Hold it. But the little book was on fire at the time, was it not?
With flames of love, I'll have you know.
Flames of love?
Yeah. Flames of love.
There really is no such thing as a loving incendiary bomb.
Well, he brought it upon himself. It's playing with fire to betray a fiery love. Isn't it? Well, don't you agree?
Any kind of betrayal is certainly a bad thing. Yes. But I think the argument might have arisen out of your misunderstanding, Mrs. Gardev.
Hey, watch it.
Never you mind that. The point is we were just having a jovial little dispute, nothing more.
Hey,
They won't have any more of these suggestions that it was anything whatsoever to do with this crime.
Right. Well, we'll see about that. Well, what about juror number 5?
what about
Pass his
me?
arm.
Hey,
He doesn't seem to be turning a hair at Mrs. Gardev relentless onslaughts.
I need to.
It's almost
Oh,
as though
God.
he's used to it. What a gentle soul he is.
Yeah, they're right.
Okay. You just want to get this over with? How can you sit there and say something like that? A man's future is at stake here.
I don't give a. Well, him and me both. Then, like I said before,
What?
I told you already. I'm a day laborer, aren't I? And if I don't bring home some readiness with me, readies with me tonight, you'll find me floating face down in the Thames tomorrow morning.
What?
Thames, dang it.
It's fine.
And yeah, you heard me. My missus isn't one to mess about, you know. She can be fierce, believe you me. You can see her at night.
Another shining example of marital bliss, then.
A situation like this cropped up the other day. It was, well, didn't, you know? It's funny, but I can't quite remember.
Sorry?
And it was too frightening, that's the thing. I must have blacked it out.
Helpful.
Well, thank you.
I wonder if Mr. Beat will ever be dragged into the Thames by his scarf.
Don't even go there, Ms. Cesaro. There must be some way to jog his memory about this. Does that have anything to do with your decision about the defendant's culpability in this case? Sorry? What's that? You'll have to skip out, lad. Could you tell us more about the fire? It was last
Would you
winter.
tell us more
The night
real loud?
my grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on my birthday. It had 75 candles on top, it did. What a sight to behold it was. You put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship?
Preposterous.
Of course not. It was an angel cake to celebrate my birthday, obviously.
An angel cake. Why? Because he's about to die?
That's a common custom here in Great Britain, Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo.
Anyway, I mustered all my puff to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong somehow. The flames didn't go out, but the candles went flying all over the room. The furniture caught and everything went up. The whole place filled with smoke. Definitely sounds like devil worship to me. And by the sneezes, I presume you mean a cold. But how did you catch a cold from the fire? What a fiasco it was. The grandchildren, bless them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the flames. And then, because the whole room had filled up with the smoke, of course, we had to open all the windows to clear it. The windows. The biting winter air rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave, it did. I caught a terrible cold from it. It put me in the hospital for a while. I won't forget that birthday in a hurry.
In fact, I'm dead.
I knew it was devil worship.
Why'd you think they gave me an angel cake?
I knew it was devil
Fact.
worship.
I'm the devil.
Well,
It's ironic.
I saw angels, I did. I knew it was devil worship all along. But something about this old man's story is playing on my mind for some reason.
We need to demonstrate who, apart from Mr. Natsume, could have attacked the young woman on the street. As well as how he or she could have done it.
Yes, but once again, the jurors' statements are full of personal prejudice. A lot of them seem convinced they're right, even in the face of logical arguments in the contrary.
I think you're going to need to pit them against each other to force them to accept an alternative explanation.
Yes. I don't necessarily need to find contradictions between their assertions, just a connection that might do the trick. Alright, I'll see what I can do. If anything stands out, I'll go in for a strike.
That's the spirit. You know which ones to pit Naruhodo-san?
No. Not a word.
I'll be right back so I can get some water.
Alright.
Believe it is juror number 3 and juror number 6, but I'm not sure. Just look at them again and make sure it is.
Juror number 3.
Yes, there we go. And juror number
6. Ooh, I'm just gonna wait for Andre.
Aye.
Or Phil's, or wait for Phil. Wait for Phil. You know what? I'm gonna find out if I'm right. I mean, you're right. You're right. You were always right.
I am!
Yay!
Praise Heidi for being right, being the rightest right of rights.
It's Susato-san's judicial assistant skills.
Yes, quite. Now I'm just gonna keep pointing at this poor man until Andre gets back. Look at the judge. He seems just as surprised.
Ruffle. Yeah, I didn't go anywhere. There's a phone receiver in my room and it was ringing.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Which is wonderful because my home phone is only used for telemarketers at this point, so
Yeah.
yeah, just most days it's just it's like you can earn a large sum of money by remortgaging your house, and it's like no,
No.
good.
I don't pick up the house phone anymore because of that.
Neither do we, but it doesn't stop them from calling.
They found me in my cell phone.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of shit on my cell phone.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna repost this in the chat because I like their use of his face.
Oh, hi, King Kodiak. It's we're doing, Ace Attorney.
Voice acting thing.
Uh,
We're waiting on somebody right now.
yeah. You're welcome to join. You just have to like talk to me about it, and I'll throw you a character in a few like whenever, Andre! Where's that frickin' water?
Bloody hell.
Oh, I just love to do the leg.
What?
That's the thing she posted in the chat.
And juror number
What's
3's
this?
face.
I just love to do the leg.
That's funny. Can't. We're just waiting on Andre right now, Kodiak.
Did
yeah.
he say he was grabbing water or?
He's grabbing water. Okay, you'll just watch. Okay, that's fine. All right. So, how's everyone's day?
Doing all right. Went to the
Ah,
dermatologist earlier.
Okay.
dealing with the existential crisis of being a millennial adult in 2022.
You too.
Well, yeah, but I feel like that's just what we do all the time.
You know, yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
what else is new?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely had.
Some days are better.
Yeah, that's true. The past month, like, even on that break was pretty bad for me.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You think doing this for a long time, like the voice acting thing, you have a thick skin, and then something happens, and then you don't.
Back. What did I miss?
Oh,
Nothing,
hey, we were just talking
Andre.
about the existential dread of being a millennial in 2022.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
Yeah.
amazing, isn't it?
And we're waiting on you to continue this stream.
okay.
Look,
Sorry,
I'm pointing at your character, really
What?
hard.
Oh, hey, Andre, Chad the Chad.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, King Kodiak's in there.
Kodiak. Hey, Kodiak.
Yeah. All right. These two juror statements clearly contradict one another.
Phil.
Oh shit! I'm looking at the actual screen or the actual stream. I'm like, no
You're
wait.
still being the newest follower from me. Phil.
Yeah, no, I'm being helpful.
Yeah.
They do? How exactly, Council Rubble Rubble?
Well, anyway, thank you for the follow, Phil and Kodiak.
Hello, yeah.
Don't point at me again. I told you it wasn't me.
What's that you say? Speak up, lad, speak up.
What's a bee?
Juror number 3. Do you see?
Oh, me? See what, sir?
Did you hear juror number 6's account of his birthday celebrations last year? It seems, despite being a Londoner, he once opened his window in the middle of winter.
Well, yes, of course, but because it was an emergency. I mean, obviously, if the room was filled with smoke from a fire, then you'd be mad not to open the.
I want to know how Van Zeeks got away with that.
Oh!
What? This is... I don't know.
Yeah, you should have in the face.
Exactly. On the day in
Ooh,
question,
animation
at
time.
the time of the incident, there was a fire in the Garadeb household. And Mr. Garadeb had the following to say this. That is not in the script. The whole place was filled with smoke.
Oh my hat!
Your hat. Okay. Wait, well, let's see.
What?
Is she doing shots of tea? Or
Sure.
shots of something?
Juror number
Yeah,
4?
I don't think that's filled with tea.
No, it's... Imagine bringing alcohol in the courtroom, Van Zeeks.
It
I mean,
couldn't
they
be
bring
Van
guns.
Zeeks.
In a teapot.
And-
It could
and
be Van
swords.
Zeeks.
Couldn't be. Juror number 4, do you have something to say about that? Mrs. Garadeb?
Dearie me! What is the meaning of this? How dare you imply that I'm hiding while I really am?
It's imperative that you confirm something for the courts. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now.
What is it?
When the fire started in your house that day, did you or your husband open the window?
I beg your pardon, what are you insinuating?
The room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet and bookcase caught fire as they did. I can't read. How embarrassing. In a situation like that, it's inconceivable that that you wouldn't have opened the window.
And what if we did?
Hmm?
Oh, all right then. Yes, you're right. My husband was frantically trying to open the window. Didn't she deny earlier that they were married?
Yeah.
Which can't have been easy since I continued to give her a justly deserved book battering.
Oh. Even though your house was on fire?
Oh, you never stop throwing until the anger subsides. It'd be terribly bad for the nerves to do otherwise.
God.
Of course. I should have realized.
That's hardcore.
That's a significant step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. You've managed to establish that the window was open. We simply must have that added to Mrs. Garadeb's formal statement.
It's green, but it's new dialogue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, yes, the window was open at the time. I'd clean forgotten, but it's true.
Oh, it's crunching.
Oh,
Mm.
oh God!
leg.
Crunching! Crunching!
I don't know who you pit after this. Is it juror number 4 with juror number 3?
Let's just find out. Should I press her? I'll just press her for.
I don't think so. I think. Okay.
The fourth book found at the scene of the crime shows very obvious signs of fire damage. Wow. And the title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Garadiv told us that he was reading. I can read.
Well, I really couldn't say.
On the day in question, did you or did you not throw at your husband the copy of Lion's Pride that he had been reading?
I did.
Uh,
It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I held it straight at him. And now you come to mention it, yes. He was rather enjoying reading it, you're right.
Why did you not reveal this information to the court from the onset?
Because I couldn't answer that little man, I didn't remember. At times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on as well, you know.
I really don't.
I barely noticed I was throwing a book, much less the title of it.
Okay, what's going on here?
Oh, God.
What is it, juror number 5?
Yeah, you know something? I remembered what it was, and the memory I blocked out.
Ah.
It was listening to what this granny was saying, and brought it all flooding back. Hey,
Who are you calling a granny, you cheeky devil? I'm Mrs. Garadev, or the maid, I'll have you know.
or
The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that's not because he's so used to being hit all the time.
Everyone in this case needs relationship counseling. Except
It was a-
juror number 6. I think he just needs a competency hearing.
Yeah.
He needs a nap.
he needs a hearing aid.
What? What was that?
It was about 2 weeks ago now. I just got back home after work, like. I put my hands in my pocket for the wages I just earned that day, and I nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny had dropped out.
Oh dear. What a disaster.
And you haven't heard the half of it, boy.
Oh?
And the wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. I couldn't hardly get the words out, but I told her straight. I lost a day's wages, love. And next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ear. Stuck in the wall next to me, it did. About an inch deep.
No words. Just terror.
I could have smelled it then, you know. That god-awful stench of the Thames. I was sure I was gonna end up face down in the bloody banks that night, I can tell you. But now, that's the real disaster, isn't it?
I'll never use the word lightly again.
Anyway, the point I was trying to make is this. When women lose their rag, they'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchets, hammers, you name it.
Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't think that all women are so short-tempered and unrefined.
No, I wasn't thinking that.
Says she with a Susato smash. Throwing household objects at people is, well, it's so uncivilized, you might as well throw people instead. At least attack with honor, using a bow or the like.
Or humans.
What? Attack? Who are you going to attack?
Never mind. Anyway, this man's words could be rather significant, I think.
All right. We'll come back to the bow and arrow thing later. If I dare.
I never said anything about arrows.
A woman in a rage will hurl almost anything at you. The kitchen knife really brought that home to me.
All right.
See.
Okay.
Oh, I think you pit him against juror number 2. I
Okay.
think.
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense because they're refined women.
Yes. I think that's right.
These two statements clearly have a deeply significant connection about woman.
Words, Naruhodo-san.
Don't worry about me. I'm just
Hey, what are
processing.
you pointing at?
I'm just processing.
Would you quit pointing at me then?
Good grief, you mean they don't contradict each other? Explain yourself at once!
Juror number 2,
Yes.
do you think perhaps that this could be one such novel alternative?
Oh my, whatever you do mean.
An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed in the back.
What are you talking about?
We've demonstrated that the 4th book, The Lion's Pride, that was found at the scene of the crime, originated from Mr. Garadev's room on the top of the floor of his house. Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have found its way from the Garadev household to the street below.
What's that about that now?
After all, Mrs. Garadev could have thrown any number of different objects at her husband. Isn't that right, juror number 4?
What are you insinuating now, you little beanpole?
I'm beginning to think that, ever since the true origins of that book came to light, perhaps she's had a feeling that this might be what happened.
Now you listen here, you Eastern Gala. As the foreman of
I
this
know
jury, I
it's
demand a
Goliath,
straight
but it
answer.
doesn't make sense in this context. A galah is a cockatoo.
What?
It's a pink cockatoo.
Oh, Eastern Galah.
You give us this yarn about some other object making its way out of the house, but what? What is it?
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm really taking a big gamble here. That was a bold accusation to make, but I haven't made any real evidence to back it up. That's way It is certainly racist. Indeed. But I'm certain that at the very least this warrants further investigation. All right, Mr. Foreman. I'll try to examine the defense's theory. The other object that found its way from the Garadeb household to the scene of the crime was...
The knife.
the knife.
A knife.
I could be wrong.
Take that!
Juror number 4, Mrs. Garadeb.
What now?
I must apologize in advance for this. But I need you to confirm something else for the court. This knife. Have you ever seen this knife before?
Good Lord, Counsel, what on earth are you doing?
Are you okay over there, Judge?
Clear your throat, Judge. Here, I have plenty of tea.
It has a lot of phlegm.
I have an endless decanter of tea.
This isn't tea. That's the weapon that was lodged in the victim's back, man, rabble, rabble.
It was requested of me.
My lord?
I
Okay, go ahead.
like to think that his stomach makes the same sound.
Rabble, rabble.
My lord, remember that when the victim was attacked, Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb were in the throes of an argument. Mrs. Garadeb was hurling anything she could throw at her husband, who'd been backed up against a window. A window that had been opened to clear the smoke, and through which a book sailed to land at the crime scene. Why does the judge sound like a hamburglar? Well, you know.
Hamburger.
Rabble.
Don't worry
Rabble,
about
rabble.
that, Kodiak. You want to get in here?
Rabble, rabble.
I'm just kidding.
You can't seriously believe that the book was found in the victim's grasp.
Are you saying that it flew out of the window and across the street to land neatly in her hand?
Huh? Even my missus hasn't got a name like that.
Yes, I admit there are many details we don't have yet to understand. But that's the point. That's precisely why we must not allow this trial to end. Not right now.
Oh, come on.
Oh my.
Oh!
I'm awake.
Mrs. Garadeb, your answer, please.
Why does he sound like he's gonna get hit? Please give it to me now.
I'm stuck on the laugh. I'm sorry.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Have you
He's about
seen?
to have a heart attack.
Have you seen this
I mean,
night
I'd be
before
afraid of
or
Mrs.
not?
Garadeb too.
Oh, God. He died.
Naruto-san.
That was also
My lord?
beautiful.
I wish to change my decision. I'm a woman of my word, after all.
Thank you, madam.
Yes, I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but yeah. I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end now with so many unanswered questions.
Mr. Foreman.
I'd have to agree. And not that I think that the granny didn't mind.
Yes, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this at the moment either.
All together now, ladies and gents.
Juror number 6
I
is just
dreamt
sitting
of
there.
pudding. That's why I didn't get my answer.
Funny.
We did it. What? What? What happened?
No, what?
It's over yet?
Is it over yet?
Oh, congratulations,
for
Mr.
cake.
Naruhodo.
My cake.
So, as a result of the defense's summonation examination, a number of jurors' leanings have changed, Rabble Rabble.
Wait, I want to change my decision too.
2 jurors called guilty against 4 now calling innocent. Rabble Rabble. Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided, Rabble Rabble.
I love you, Phil.
This was asked of me. This is not was this not
He's
the
doing
intention?
what he's told.
You're doing great.
I'm told.
You
This
can
trial will
stop.
continue.
You can stop whenever you want to. It's just, I'm thank you.
I will gladly continue this.
Do whatever you want, man.
I'm like, am I doing it wrong?
No, you're doing
Now
it.
then, Lord
yeah,
Van
yeah.
Zeeks, how does the prosecution wish to proceed, Rabble Rabble?
Yes.
Yes.
This trial is rapidly descending into a farce.
Excuse me.
Excuse you.
Like a cold wine, the first few sips are bitter enough. Ha! But what follows is so repugnant, it's good for nothing saves the gutter.
If I may, Lord Van Zeeks, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened.
Incredible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense's argument is a joke at which I barely know how to respond. But let me start by insisting that you must all familiarize yourself better with the relative positions of those places being discussed.
What do you mean by that? What's his angle this time?
It should already be more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Garadeb household runs a rather wide street, Briar Road.
The knife didn't clock her in the head. Not like a fucking Family Guy. It just immediately dropped to the floor.
Which means that the distance from the Garadeb's house to the scene of is 15 yards.
Let me see. 15 yards. That's around 14 meters.
Damn these fucking
14
these
meters?
metrics.
Stupid American metrics.
Oh. That's a
American, yeah.
That's a little further than I imagined.
And, as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted, as having portentous significance, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smothering book wantonly hurled by the lady of the house traveled some 15 yards to land in the opposite side of the road, neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumbs. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend?
Accent. My learned. It's like a fuck.
And did the jackknife follow a near identical trajectory to plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories have more believable plots. Hit ya.
There's nothing I can say to that.
That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice.
Oh, yes.
Mrs. Otto. It's pretty. I don't know.
Serialized detective stories are pathetic, are they? How dare he?
Maybe.
She has her arrow. It's there.
Maybe let's pick our battles here.
Let me throw him, Naruto-san.
Don't do it,
My lord, might I be allowed to speak?
Suzato.
And
Control
throw
yourself.
him, Naruto-san.
What? Don't do it, man.
And don't say anything you're gonna regret.
He just whips the katana out and that he's holding and just chucks it. As judicial assistant, you may speak for the defense. Yes, go ahead. Rabble.
The prosecution may consider the idea a fantasy. But what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has a duty to explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible.
So fuck you.
So fuck you.
Hmm.
To that end, juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garadeb, must be called to testify and submit to cross-examination.
Saints alive, rabble. A cross-examination of a juror.
Oh, I'm still here. I'm asleep too.
Order! Well, this is highly irregular, rabble. It is unprecedented for a member of the jury to be summoned to the witness stand. Rabble. Ah!
Objection. And unnecessary.
I've run out of wine.
Give me more wine.
Lord sakes!
There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimonies the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend's farcical theories have any truth in it, then both a burning book and a jackknife must have flown to the sky before this corporate couple's eyes. And we must assume they would be able to testify accordingly.
What say you, witnesses? Rebel. There's a dent in his head. Or in his helmet.
Yes, sir. Constable Rolly Beat reporting for duty, sir.
Well. And good morning, officer.
Sorry for dozing off until now, sir. I haven't slept for a month on account of the villains who's appeared on my I haven't slept for a month on the account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir.
Oh, they are so heroic. They are so heroic, those London bobbies.
Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more.
Oh, Rolly, my hero! You make me swoon!
Very well. I hereby reject the defense's request.
Oh.
And order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. To state forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the defense's alternative explanation of events. Rebel.
Yes, sir.
Rebel.
This testimony. Case has nothing to do with Miss and Mrs. Garadeb. Believe me, a London Bobby is good for his word. You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Garadeb's house are top-hinged casements.
Obviously, if anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed.
I didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment, sir. Nothing strange to report on the front, sir.
Well, this is quite startling. Top hinged casement windows. Rebel.
That detail was not in the police report, Constable.
Yes, sorry about that. I must have been a little drowsy.
And you cannot excuse your sins with drowsiness every time, Constable.
No, sir!
Sorry, but what exactly is a top hinged casement window?
And you cannot excuse your ignorance with such tripe remarks, my learned friend.
Of course. Sorry.
It better be.
I found it, Mr. Naruhodo. Cast your mind to the windows in Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb's room.
All right. I'll try. Oh, it's so realistic.
So the window opens in order to allow air to circulate inside the house.
Wow.
But as it's a top-hinged casement window, it swings open along the upper edge, you see.
I'm glad you rectified your ignorance. A casement window's most prominent feature is its stay. A metal bar which prevents the window from being opened beyond a certain amount.
It prevents its opening. This is all news to me.
Absolutely correct, sir. In other words, if a book or knife were to have been thrown through the in other words, if a book or knife were to have been thrown through the open window, it would have clattered against the pane and fallen straight down to the pavement below.
No.
You see the problem then? Good. Your educations in Windows is complete. There was never any possibility of either the book or the knife traveling 15 yards over the road. That is, unless the window pane has been shattered. Something we've discounted already.
That can't.
I love the Discord cuts.
Did you see that,
Ryusuke
Rolly?
out 'cause
That
of
young
the
Japanese man just
volume.
collapsed in agony.
I'm glad it.
Sorry, Phil, what were you saying?
Phil?
I
Me?
can't hear Phil. Yeah, Phil, what
I'm-
were you saying?
Oh, it was just funny because like the intensity that I feel from you like shouting, I lose because Discord cuts you out for volume, and I'm just like I missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It kinda helped.
we tried that before, but because the volume of how we speak is so inconsistent between me and Arkham, because like we go up and down, side to side, whatever. That whenever it sounds muted, just the speaking sounds. So it's either have non-peaky yelly sounds, or have all the speaking lines, clear.
Oh no, you're fine, bud.
Yeah.
It was just like it's something I'm missing out on.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I just wanted to explain myself.
Oh, I gotcha.
Anyway,
Oh,
I didn't
What?
mean to do the
Patricia.
language.
did you do already?
Oh, did I not catch you?
Yeah,
Yes,
she
it
did.
is.
Okay, I'm moving on. This is
Oh, yes, my darling. I saw it. I saw how he crumbled before me.
Oh, you're so manly, Rolly. Oh, you're so strong.
Oh, and you're so beautiful.
How is this happening? I haven't even started cross-examination yet, and already my argument's been destroyed.
You're welcome.
Shut up!
Don't tell them you could drag yourself up right again. The court order wait cross-examination.
My lord. Oh, good. Another desperate situation.
My face hurts.
I'm going to have I'm going to have another game of this, aren't I? Okay. The answers. What do you mean, ew, Kodiak?
What?
Why'd you say ew?
That's a goofing.
Was that in response to the Pat and Rolly thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it is a little gross.
A bit schmootsy wootsy.
Okay. Well,
Not a Huddle-san, are you looking at a guide?
no.
Of course he is. He is rather ignorant.
Otto, be quiet.
You already didn't like him. Okay, fine. I'll look at a guide.
I think they're
okay.
murderers.
I do believe you have to press Patricia here.
Okay. But I'll just go ahead and do it while that's opening.
Ooh. You're really holding true to Sasato there, aren't you, Hyde?
Let's see. Cute.
But you ran away.
But according to my notes here, the sun had gone down already, and it was dark.
Oh, but Rolly and I were strolling along, gazing at the night sky and looking for a lucky star.
Sorry.
The star that will guide us to eternal happiness.
Oh, jeez.
Can it guide you to the answer of the question?
If a flaming book had cut across the sky in front of us, it would have lit up like the shooting star.
And if I'd seen a shooting star, I would have made a wish upon it. Let Rolly be an inspector, I would have said, 3 times at least.
Of course. Well, with the smog and everything, we couldn't actually see any stars.
In short, are you trying to say that neither a book nor a knife crossed the sky before you?
Yes, sir, that is correct, sir. As sure as the night sky in London is starless, sir.
It certainly seems like they're telling the truth.
And then we saw the poor woman fall to the ground, so we ran straight over to help her.
Alright. I have the guide now.
Okay,
Okay. Hold it!
How can you say that for certain?
A very good question, sir. And the answer is this. It has the noble founding principles of the Force written on it as a reminder to all us policemen of our sworn duty.
he showed us that before, didn't he?
Did he? I can't say I remember.
Patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of a common man. It's what this job's all about, yes it is.
I can show my badge too, you know.
Well then, show me your badge,
I will.
little bitch.
It's more of a Bannerholo-san.
And this is why I can't stand here today besides my long-suffering wife and tell you a Bobby's good for his word. While rubbing my tired eyes admittedly. Sir!
Oh, Rolly, You're so manly.
Oh, thank you, darling. Of course I am, my darling Patricia. No.
He's so awake now.
Oh,
Oh, Pat.
No.
Oh, brother.
None of this is what I meant.
This beautiful delivery.
I meant, how can you say for certain that this case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb?
Well, I see, sir. You should have said so earlier, sir.
Yes, well, so could you answer the question? That was a waste of time then.
Absolutely, sir. I'll answer it to the fullest of my abilities, sir. There's a surprising reason why Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb's domestic dispute can be related to the case. But before I get into that, sir, just one thing.
Yes?
I'd very much like you and all the countrymen to understand the great British institution of Scotland Yard. And it's crunching up.
Crunchy.
Crunchy.
Crunchy like the biscuits in London, yes it is.
Yes, that's right, we are in London.
Yeah. We're in London, and we're British.
Yeah.
Why is it called Scotland Yard then?
Well, I don't know. So I hope you'll take back some of the. So I hope you'll take back some tales of us London bobbies and how we uphold our guiding principles.
I wasn't planning on going back just yet. I've only just arrived here.
So to that end, sir, I'd be happy to lend you my warrant card for your perusal. Yeah, perusal.
Perusal.
But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through. But I must warn you, you won't be able to get through it without shedding a few tears.
Thank you. I'll try.
Oswald Beats' warrant card has been entered into the court record.
Thank you, Andre. Okay.
You see, sir, the windows on the top floor of the Garadeb's house are top hinged casements.
Okay.
Hold it, motherfucker.
By which you mean you didn't? By which you mean they didn't open fully? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. They're just there to allow a bit of air through the house, you see. So they're restricted as much as to how much they open.
And therefore, anything thrown out of the window from inside the room would simply strike the pane and fall to the street directly below. For clarity, allow me to mark the map. Here is the location of where objects would have fallen.
Yes. Directly opposite the scene of the crime on the other side of the rather wide road. Ribbit.
Would it have been so hard for somebody to mention this top hinge casement thing before? Well, I have another question for you, Constable.
And what would that be, sir?
How do you even know? Why would you have any idea what sort of windows Mr. and Mr. Garadeb's house was furnished with?
Ah, well, sir, that's very simple. You see, I helped with the investigation yesterday.
Giggles.
Yes? Do you have something to add, Mrs. Beat?
Sorry?
You look, well, delighted. Is there some particular reason for that?
Oh, I was just remembering, that's all. We really were so lucky.
Lucky? What do you mean?
Well, of course I feel terrible for the poor woman who was attacked. Don't misunderstand me, please. But we were just so lucky it didn't happen on Rolly's beat. It was so close, you see.
Oh, I hadn't realized.
Oh yes, that street, Bry Road. That's the boundary between Rolly's beat and the next one.
I think he's falling asleep again.
Yep.
Isn't that right, my love?
Constable Beat?
Yes, that's right. That's the reason I was helping out with interviewing the occupants of the Gyarados household yesterday. The house is on my beat, you see, sir.
That really was cutting it close then.
Constable, I wonder if you could clarify something. If the Gyarados household is on your beat, does that mean that the pavement next to it is as well?
Outside Mrs. Gyarados' house? Yes, ma'am. The pavement on that side of the road is part of my beat.
I see. I wasn't aware of that.
Just think, if the woman had been attacked just on the other side of Briar Road, we would never have been able to go to that meal to celebrate her wedding anniversary. But that's the life of a Bobby, after all.
Extraordinary people are Bobbies, tirelessly working for the benefit of all Londoners. Rebel.
Do you know what I think? I think it was a good Lord's way of rewarding my Rolly for all his hard work. Don't you think so, my darling?
That must be it, Pat, my love. That must be it.
I think perhaps we should make sure we have that information officially on record.
Leave it to me, Mr. Naruhodo. I'll take care of it immediately.
Hi, Red.
Eh,
And now it's my turn, I think.
We did this, and we get
did
to
that
press
one.
everything else.
Oh.
hold it.
Yes, you said that you went to the nearby police box to fetch another officer, is that right?
That's right, yes. If it had been on Rolly's beat, I would have known exactly where I was going, of course.
Don't feel bad, my love. You can't be expected to know the location of every police box on every beat.
So Rolly told me the way. Only, I sort of got a little pop up against my, a little lost on the way.
Trisha, my darling, that's why I love you. Your terrible sense of direction is bewitching to me. Oh, you're so bad at crossing the street and looking at directions. Oh, Pat.
Rolly!
Oh, please.
So, I suppose I was gone for about 15 minutes. But, like I said, my Rolly was at the scene the whole time, making sure nothing was disturbed.
I was off duty at the time, of course, but a true Bobby is never really off duty, sir.
Nothing to report.
That's correct, sir. I had my eyes wide open the entire time. Never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. I can swear that on the yard's honor, sir.
Really? That seems a little strange.
Beg your pardon, sir? Strange, sir? Seems altogether regular to me.
This burnt copy of the Lion's Pride was originally in the Garadeb household. So the question remains, how did it find its way into the hand of the victim? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time?
Aha! Could it be a different copy, sir? One that just happened to be burnt as well?
Even if it were that possible, why would the victim have been gripping a book like that in her hand? As you can see from the photographic print, she had a bag over her shoulder.
Well, sir, that book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene.
Is that so? There's something about this statement that's not sitting right with me. The two mysteries of how the knife ended up in her back and how the book ended up in her hand. There must be some common thread between them.
Can I ask you something? Please, Mr. Lawyer, sir?
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
You're doubting us, aren't you? I can tell.
What? I really wasn't. I mean, what's she doing?
Please, just because I'm a woman, it doesn't make my testimony any less valuable. You might just see me as a wife of a policeman, but I'm a woman of my word, I am.
I really don't remember ever suggesting that I doubted you.
No excuses. I don't want to hear it.
Then why did you ask?
Ah!
My voice will be heard. My lord, you'll let me speak, won't you?
Yes, Mrs. Beat, I will allow you to supplement your testimony if you so desire, Rabu.
You're not even, he didn't even react to it at all. He's just letting her strangle this poor man.
It's out of love. Clearly.
He's my husband. I can do with him whatever I want with him.
Oh.
That seems to be a running theme in this case.
Yeah, on 3 accounts. 4. 3.5. We'll say 3.5.
Here comes number 5.
Oh no.
Anyway,
Sometimes the path of least resistance is the sage one. Rabu.
that was a very loud mutter.
Rubble.
That one.
I heard that! That Japanese man thinks the policeman's wife word counts for nothing, does he? Well, watch out, sir. I might let you get away with something like that, but my Rolly won't.
Duly noted, Mrs. Beat. Please, I humbly ask you to continue.
What could you possibly be about to say, I wonder? I know what I saw. My eyes never let me down. My sense of direction is a little off sometimes, though.
Oh,
I didn't take my eye off the.
Alright,
She was gone for 15 minutes.
Mrs. Beat, nobody is questioning what you told us.
I saw it, I did. That evening I saw it clearly. Little Eastern man with the whiskers and the funny curved back, slinking away from the scene.
Oh dear.
Huh.
And I know what I didn't see as well. I didn't see any flaming books or knives flying through the sky.
All very clear. You You also mentioned something about having a poor sense of direction.
Yes, well, that's a little embarrassing, really. I'm always ending up at the wrong place when I've made arrangements to meet Rolly. He gets ever so cross.
Oh, look at you. Excuse me. Constable Beat, is there a problem?
Eh? Huh? No, sir. No problem, sir.
Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind, perhaps?
Oh, well, in a way, sir. Yes, sir. I was remembering that the same thing happened that evening, is all.
You mean Mrs. Beat lost her way? On the night of the incident?
Well, you see, I sent her off to find a police box in the next beat over from mine. But she was gone a fair bit longer than what I was expecting. I thought she'd be back inside 10 minutes. My darling was gone a good 15. You don't know your directions.
Rolly, you're such a tease.
Oh, yes, I am. You're a beauty, though.
Aw, but the reason it was gone so long was because of the bouquet, silly.
Oh, all right. The bouquet.
Sorry, what bouquet are you talking about?
Oh, it was a present for our wedding anniversary. Rolly's so romantic. He saved up for it with farthings and halfpennies he found in the gutter while doing his rounds.
What are halfpennies?
Halfpennies.
Half a penny, yeah.
Ah,
Halfpennies and halfpennies.
but halfpennies are like... Oh, whatever.
Sounds like
Less than 1
happenings.
cent.
Yes! Yes! How romantic!
I'd forgotten all about it until just now. Had you, my darling?
Oh, yes. But that was just between us.
Oh. Hey, Arkham.
Hey, Arkham.
Hi, Arkham.
Hello.
You got
No talking about it. No talking about it to anyone else, darling. You have to promise.
Really? Oh.
What was that all about? Constable Beat looked very obviously troubled during that exchange.
I'm afraid I can't offer any useful insight, Mr. Nodahuddle. I'm quite sure of one thing. We have to ask Mrs. Beat about the bouquet.
Mrs. Beat, this bouquet you just mentioned. I'd like you to add details about it in your testimony, please.
Oh, really? Yes, I'd love to. What happened was, I dropped my bouquet and ended up losing my way for a while.
You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime?
Yes, that's right. Oh, I was so upset. When we ran over and saw it was a woman with a knife in her back. I was so shocked I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the streetlights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice it at first.
And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat was on?
Yes, and I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again. But the funny thing was, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all.
In case you need reminding, Mrs. Beat. In case you need reminding, Mrs. Beat, victim is not deceased.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road.
Your husband, presumably.
That's right. Silly me had gone over to the wrong side of the street. Although I'm going to blame the bouquet this time. I can't think how it got there. I really can't.
So the bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briar Road to the opposite.
Curious indeed. Problem.
Isn't it? But the worst of it is, I forgot to pick the bouquet up again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose really bought me. With that change from the gutter he spent so long collecting.
By bouquet. Do you perhaps mean this sorry, solitary rose?
Oh. Oh, yes, that's it. That's the bouquet Rolly bought me for our anniversary, with his old bits of change he found in the gutter.
Maybe he just called it a rose?
Tell us, Lord Vengix, where did you come by the flower? Rabble.
According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Garadeb household.
In front of the Garadeb's household?
Although it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case, since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Can I have it back now, please?
No. No, I think for good measure, this ruse should be added to the court record as evidence. Yeah. they even called it a bouquet.
Anniversary bouquet.
Even put in the
Anniversary
paper.
bouquet has been entered into the court record.
We'll run for a bit for 15 minutes longer because of that delay in the beginning, but
But it's a symbol of our love. I
What if
want
it
it
just
back
cut back
after
the
the
info
trial.
part?
Do you hear me? I want it back.
So sorry, Hyde. I said, what if it cut back to the description and it said it's a symbol of beaten Pat's love? Like, oh, sorry,
I'd
let's
rather
just
go with
fix the
Van Zieg's
evidence.
definition of single, solitary, sorry rose.
okay.
Believe you present the rose here, Naruhodo-san.
Yes, of course. That's right.
It's a symbol of their love.
Yeah, of course. How could I forget? You claim, Constable Beat, that there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. But that cannot be.
Oh, what? It was, oh.
What do you mean to say?
Don't worry about it, Andre.
Was there a line?
No,
Because-
No.
he's asleep.
Oh, okay.
That's why I left. In your testimony just now, Mrs. Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with the policeman assigned to the beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection!
Ah.
Objection.
Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single solitary bloom can be so described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it belongs.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, jeez.
Damn.
Damn.
Meager.
Oh, we're almost done.
Did I stutter?
Did I stutter,
But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact?
No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honour. But the bouquet belonged to me! It has nothing to do with the case! That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure.
No, because sadly, it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around.
What are you talking about?
Think about it. Besides Mrs. Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garadeb's book. Ah, what a string of words. Mr. Garadeb's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out of the window by his wife, would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed here, on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here, on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here, at the scene of the crime, on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here, on the opposite side of the road, in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb's house. There's no logical explanation for those things. Unless somebody deliberately moved them.
She.
What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong!
Sorry.
Didn't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says? Wittering on about books and bouquets. Why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is.
Sorry. Oh, good. Mrs. Garadeb come around. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garadeb. But deliberately meddling with the scene of the crime is a criminal offense. It's called,
Tampering, Mr. Nodahuddle.
I'm awake now!
Yeah, that was like the most expressive he's been.
Yeah.
But the person responsible for tampering cannot admit it. For a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Tampering. You barely heard the term before.
So?
Tell us, my learned friend, who would possibly have had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception?
Yes, there is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person.
No, who is Nodahuddle-san?
Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Rabble, rabble. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime? Rabble. Susato.
I was going to say Herlock, but hey, this is obviously.
Oh, and I couldn't have done it.
Obviously, there's only one person that it could have been. Constable Royally Beat. It was you.
What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard? Rabble.
What nonsense! Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London.
Mrs. Beats, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to the nearby police box to fetch an officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it.
You're making it up! It's all nonsense! It's all lies! What about that Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it!
If that were true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it.
Oh.
Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene. Ah, well...
Objection! First, you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well. But your accusations lack one very important thing. You claim the crime scene was tampered with. But there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime: to hide something.
Ah.
That's right. He's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there, that's all. So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense.
You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats.
Constable Beat had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair.
Mr. Naruhodo, have you managed to solve this mystery?
Yes. Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. Rabble. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need to point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive of this alleged tampering. Rabble.
Yes, my lord. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide where the victim fell. That is what this Bobby had to cover up at all costs.
Where the victim fell? What? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road! We saw it happen, remember? It was right here, as if anyone didn't already know.
That's certainly what everybody has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all.
What?
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end, Council. Rabble, rabble.
If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my Nipponese friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening?
In the house. But that's...
On the opposite side of the road.
I don't understand.
On the evening in question, Mr. Gerda's book fell directly down from the open window above. And your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself.
Good. Good gracious, rabble!
Crunch.
Ah, it's
Okay.
gone crunchy.
Crunch.
Okay, hold on.
Crunching up. He's a crunching up.
There we go.
Perhaps you haven't written the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place.
Yeah, that's right. I saw it with my own eyes.
It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was a typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid. That was actually on the west side of the Briar Road.
No, that's not true. It can't have been.
Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print, the victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road.
Extraordinary, rabble.
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 The whisper, my god. But the constable overlooked one thing.
What? What did he overlook?
The bouquet, I presume.
Exactly.
The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Zeek said it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light.
Yes, it could be seen in the dark, obviously. Rabble, rabble.
Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond? Constable Royally Beat?
Evil.
Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important?
Oh, really? This isn't true, is it? What that lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it just because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know.
I had a dream, a terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out. Everything exposed.
Yep.
Only it seems it wasn't a dream at all.
Good gracious, Rabble. Order! 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 What on earth is the meaning of all this? Rabble. Rabble.
Oh, Rolly, why? Why would you do something like this?
Her expression doesn't change.
Moving the corpses is
Now
a
it does.
criminal offense, isn't it?
Wishing the victim dead should be one too.
Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? Rabble. Rabble! As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the rabble of London town.
Protect the rabble.
I heard what you
Good
almost
one.
said your duty is to rabble.
Protect the rabble. Protect the rabble. I'm the hamburger. Rabble.
I can't say, sir.
What?
Say what? Just do it like that. Say what?
Say what?
I really am ever sorry about all this. For damaging the Yard's reputation. For everything.
I have a possible explanation for why on that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can only think of one reason.
What? How could you possibly know? You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman.
I don't think anybody understands the constable's mind.
Yet, Lord Van Zeeks, it is this foreigner who has uncovered that startling truth of the matter thus far. Rabble. I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Rabble. Counsel for the defense, if you please.
Yes, my lord.
Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence.
At once, my lord. England, Japan. It makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind the man's actions.
What gives away the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions?
I'm gonna open it because I haven't seen it. Is that it?
Item number 3. Wait, what? Oh, Metropolitan Police Regulations.
That's it? Huh, I expected more. Or whatever. I realize that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I have only just arrived from Japan, which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example.
Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens of his beat in all kinds of ways. Rabble, there's no doubt that the young Bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly. Rabble.
But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special.
Special? How? Rabble.
On the account of this bouquet, my lord.
Oh, yes. It was our very first wedding anniversary.
Constable Beat had worked hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife, and was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal.
When he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road. When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them.
What must
have gone through the man's mind?
It's like, oh fuck, I gotta do work.
But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Beat puts up a lot of being married to a Bobby like me. Want to show my dear wife how much I care. I'm the true villain of Organization 13. Imagine.
Be quiet.
Yeah, so he put it into the jurisdiction of a different Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not much left. Should we continue or?
I'm good.
Are you sure there's not much left? Because we have the whole, Garrideb situation to sort out.
Okay, we'll wrap up this part, then finish up next week.
Oh damn.
Okay.
Because
I mean, if you guys want to keep going, I don't mind.
this is a warrant card that Constable Beat offered to lend me earlier. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with his initial investigations and help detectives.
Aha! Rabble.
Constable Beat. Is that, or is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day?
Yes. Everything you said, it's all right.
So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat.
Oh.
Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat.
Good gracious! Rabble. Constable Rabble, do you realize the gravity of what you have done?
Trolley, not rabble.
You caused racism.
Caused racism.
Sorry, I've been looking at Kodiak's comments.
Yeah,
It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God.
Oh wow.
Oh fuck.
Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. We've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying. And that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigation and help detectives. Why here? Why did this have to happen here? And why tonight of all nights? Why? Copper's job to guard the scene of the crime. So, I told Patch it had to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then when I opened my mouth to speak. It just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat to mine, Pat. So you have to go to the police box that covers it, turn right along Meersham Street, and then...
Aw.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yes, Andre.
Oh,
Yes.
Constable.
I just wanted that one night to take my Patricia out for dinner.
Oh, Rolly.
Just that one night.
You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street, to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care.
You see, I thought... Well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, of course he did. Otherwise, my Rolly never would have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement.
Did he, like, ensure that she was dead? I see you're reading now.
God got me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why. That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat.
Oh no, Rolly. That was all my fault. Should never have dropped it in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Rolly.
Can you tell us, Constable? How many books did you move from the one side of the road to the other in total?
Oh, 4. It was... Yeah, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely 4.
3 of them dropped by Mr. Nutsme, and the 4th... The one that fell from the window upstairs in the Geradev household, of course.
But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean.
Oh, well, sir. That's because that's how I found it.
Well, that would explain how she got stabbed in the back. She must have bent over to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
How you found it? What do you mean?
When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand.
You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding?
Oh, yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir.
Interesting.
What book information has been updated in the court record?
Thank you, Andre.
You're welcome.
I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only 2 people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However, which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off who'd done it, I thought. I couldn't see him. I couldn't see the harm, really. I think moving it at all over the road would make a jot of difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it.
My lord.
Yes, Lord Van Zix?
I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. Constable, you may withdraw.
Yes, sir!
Mr. Prosecutor, sir. What will become of my Rolly? What will happen to him?
The guillotine! I'm just gonna...
No.
That's friends, right?
Guillotine?
For now, you are free to go home. The police will contact you in due course.
Please, don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late.
Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired.
All right then, my love.
One last thing, Constable.
Sir?
Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you.
Yes, sir.
Carve that lesson into your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime.
Huh? Never again, sir? You mean to say...
Leave. Now. This trial is not yet over.
Sir!
Good job, Andre.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Rabble. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of the crime like that?
Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally, that the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume, is the only person who could possibly have committed the crime.
No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back.
Forgive me for being presumptuous. I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already.
Lord Van Zix, is this true?
Very well.
It was me.
Name the person if you will, and if further investigation is warranted. The prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing.
You will name this other person who could have
Who is it?
perpetrated the crime. I was gonna say a very different word that would have changed that tone very differently.
Oh.
Oh, I think I know what you're gonna say.
Oh boy. The defense would once again like to cross-examine the new witness, my lord.
Once again?
My assistant made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it's imperative that we cross-examine juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garadeb.
Me! Oh, dearie me!
Perfect.
That request has already been denied.
But the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garadeb, answer me this.
What do you want now, you little toad?
Yes.
At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garadeb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks over Briar Road.
What happened?
You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open top hinge casement window, holy shit, the book plummeted directly down, finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident.
Yes, and as I said, what of it?
During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garadeb. This knife, the one you removed from the victim's back, have you really never laid eyes on it before?
I don't recall it.
Seriously?
Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there and all that regalia said members of the jury needn't testify, didn't he?
Conveniently, yes.
Objection! No. I have no recollection of saying that at all, juror number 4. Make no mistake, you jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madam, let the truth come out.
That's just a common or garden knife. It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know?
That?
Are you joking?
What are you saying, please, Mrs. Garadeb? Rebel.
Now you listen to me. Oh, I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. Could you hear? I couldn't bear it! Other than your husband.
Oh, the poor woman.
So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife if that's what you think. Come along now, Chop Chop! Do your worst!
Well...
Well, Mr. Naruhodo?
If I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her right already. There.
You would have thrown it back.
Yeah.
Then take the stand, juror. The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman.
Thank you, Lord Van Zeeks.
I'm going to have to testify.
Juror number 4. As I'm sure you will appreciate having observed it with your own eyes today. Witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Rabble. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware.
You dare me.
So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Giradeb. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, consuls?
Certainly, my lord.
That's what I'm hoping for, my lord.
So we break here, or
Yeah, now would be a good time.
Yeah, you're not gonna finish it.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
This is such a strange...
This is cool
this
though.
is such a strange feeling. It's almost as like I'm going to be in stasis for a week.
Yeah. This is such a strange... I'll finish this scene off. This is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving to this country, it actually feels real. I'm here
Antagonist.
in the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer. And
Someone died and you did it.
yeah,
You're a lawyer.
yeah. And this is where we stop.
All
right.
right.
That was...
Goodness, I got some meat to look forward to next week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Lots of
fun.
cheese.
Yeah.
That was a load
Yeah.
of fun.
Oh yeah.
That one, yeah. All right. See you guys next week, guys.
Awesome.
Right.
I'm stopping the
Bye.
stream.